What's up, Gunplum Maulers? This is Strider Prime, bringing you Phase 2 of my Hulk Ball Buster build. And many people were asking, what's going on? What's happening? Well, like I said before to you guys, I don't know if you remember, I'm not going to be doing this like every day or every week. It's going to be coming up in between me building other kits. Well, it's now that time for me to show off what I have been doing. I've come across a few obstacles, and I knew that what I was going to get into, the build of the Hulk Ball Buster, was not going to be an easy feat. It's going to take some time and effort, patience, a little bit of cheating around some parts, finding workarounds, things like that. And what I knew what was going to happen was, in reference to the ball, the Master Grade ball, and the merging it with the Master Grade Zaku 2, there was going to be some sort of some sort of unusual engineering designs and redesigns that I had to think of on the fly. So let's use this as a reference for the manual. Here's, of course, the Master Grade Zaku 2, and you know what, might as well pull out the manual for the ball. Should have had this ready. Here we go. So, even though I don't think this manual shows off the exact size, there's always one way to find out. Yeah, it doesn't show. Alright, but I guess this is a good example to say that this ball is pretty big. It's not, I don't know if this size comparison is equal to what you see here, but the entire inner frame is nearly around this big. Now I'll show it to you in a minute. So I knew that once I build the ball, assemble the inner frame of the ball, I have to now find a way to merge or connect the shoulder parts to it, so I can connect the arms, and something to connect in the bottom of it, so I can connect the waist unit, so I can connect the legs. So after a lot of toying around, a lot of cutting, a lot of drilling, a lot of things, this is my first rough results of the inner frame of the Hulk Ball Buster. Now, let me break this down to you guys so you can understand. First thing, the ball. The inner frame of the ball. There was this little seat here where there's a hole now. I knew that I need access to that. Drilling a little hole for the light source was not an option. I need a little bit more spacing in there. So, using a Dremel that I purchased on at Walmart, which I knew eventually I was going to get a Dremel. So this is just an example of the drill bit, but I used it to clean some of the parts. But using a Dremel, I cut this kind of unusual shape right there, so I can have access to that. I not only cut that area, but I also cut this area as well. This little part here goes over it, which in turn secures the ball, doesn't expand it out a bit, but it has the hole on it, so I don't have to worry about it. Let me just remove it here. So once I got that done, I began the assembly of the actual connectors that connects this part to the arm. I'm going to remove it so you can see that this is one of the little parts that has that little hinge thing that goes back and forth. Trying to find a way to hook it up here was not an option. It was not feasible, and it was too close in. I knew that it had to be expanded out. So using the parts that goes behind the Zaku 2 and using the Dremel, I cut it in half. Then I began cleaning the inside of this section here, cutting that part, and then I slid it in there and I glued it on. So now it's nice and strong. Now this is of course still loose. I will put something there to hold it up into place, but I want to keep it loose so that way it's easy for me to maneuver and manipulate. Actually, there we go. Now moving down here, I also assembled this section, which is part of the waist unit, which actually connects the bottom part of the waist unit to this, the waist itself. It needed this in order for me to put it on. Now, for easy access to inside the ball, I'm going to open this so you can see what I did. I glued this on the inside, as you could see, so it's easy for me to pop this open while I glued this end here. Eventually, once I get the wiring and the connections done in here, and I feel that it's solid and it's strong and it works, then I will put it on together and glue it up so that way it will never pop out. Now, during the course of this, I ran into my first dilemma. The legs. The legs, even though... Okay, hold on. So first things first, I'm going to say the Hulk ball buster will probably be ending up around maybe this height. Right now there's about at least a good maybe what do you say, about 1.5 inches off the ground, because even though I'm going to assemble the feet, I'm going to put more armor in, you know, like how you can see there, how it's molded like that. It's going to be a lot bigger. Problem is this area, the crotch area. It's too close to the crotch. It needs to be a little bit more separate, like you see here. As you can see, the actual there's like these little rib area here that covers the internal wiring and all that stuff. How am I going to do this? Discussing this with my good friend Pine92. At first I thought maybe I should split this. Actually, let me do this right now. I should split the torso, put like plot plate to bring it out to here, you could say. That should expand it out a bit. The problem is this part here is molded into the frame, and it's secure, it's strong. I would have to cut this, destroying the structural integrity of this. Even if I put a lot of glue, there is the risk of it popping out and breaking. So no, that is not an option. What is an option is maybe I should put in a tubing of plot plate through here and connect it through this so I can expand it out. I went to the hobby store near my town area. There's not Gundam Planet, because Gundam Planet doesn't sell plot plate. There's a place called Richfield Hobbies. I did a support your local hobby store video of them. They're really nice. They have a lot of cool supplies and things like that. They make train, you know, they mostly service the model trains, but they have a section of model kits. They don't sell Gundam kits, but I go to them every now and then for this, you know, specific occasion, which of course is 1/4 tubing that I picked up. Where's my knife? I might as well do this on the fly right here. So this fits this perfectly. It's a little loose, but what I'm going to do is first I'm going to measure this. Measure the exact length. Then, as you can see, it's a little loose here. I'm going to try to maybe cut this plastic. I think what I'm going to probably do is find a way to cut this and maybe hold on to that. Now, if that doesn't work, I'm going to use putty to hold it into place, to centerize it. Then I'm going to use heat to melt this area. Try to see if I can constrict it a little bit so that way it can hold here. Now, if none of those work, I think the only thing I'm going to probably do is keep it solid. Like, keep it in one place and then make it loose here so that way it can go up and down. It'll be for both, but I don't know. So, but this is the tubing that I'm going to use. So it looks like this. Then it'll expand it out to there. So it looks like that. So let me try that, and then give me a few moments and see. Let's see how it works. Okay. After a little bit of fiddling about with the hobby knife and everything, this is what I got, and hopefully you guys appreciate what I did. I got the plot plate in, the cylinder plot plate in there, or yeah. After cutting the dimensions, I use a hot match or candle and begin melting the edges of this, which of course becomes manipulable. As you can see, this got a little burnt here, but once I dried it, cooled it down, I used my fingers, very hot, and begin to squish this inside until it's a little bit smaller diameter. As it warmed up, it hardened. Then, using the hobby knife, I began scraping inside until it fit right into place, like so. As you can see here, it fits. But of course, the issue with this, connecting this to this, was the fact that the diameter here of the hole was too big. And I was looking for any type of leftover PVC parts, to see if I can squeeze something in there. Then I just said, I said to myself, let me take the original part that goes there, slice it off the edges, then cut a little hole inside. Well, it had the hole inside, but began expanding it and then carving it out bit by bit, inch, at a time, until I was able to get the whole thing in one shot. And as you can see, came out perfect. So if I would have done this right here, now it's at the dimensions that I was hoping for. Of course, this thing doesn't stay put. It's held on by the armor and stuff like that, so I may end up gluing this. So I'm leaving it there for now until I figure this out. So far, it's coming out so good. One final thing I wanted to do was I want to get another visual representation of how this will look like once it's built. In which case, I began taking some of the armored parts of the MS Ball high grade and put on some of this, and even though this is going to be drilled off so I can expose put the little part here, these parts goes in the knees. So using sticky tacks, I'm going to show you what it would look like if that, to give you a sense of how it would look. So we put one there, we put one there, and then we have the back thrusters, or back part of the ball. One goes there, and the other one goes there. I knew that was going to open up. Yeah, this has to be glued. I'm not gonna spend all this time figuring this out. Alright, so as you can see, this looks a little stupid. Yes, it is. But bear in mind, for this, it's not going to stick out that far. I got to cut the inside, cut the edges off, so that way it can fit perfectly going backwards. So it's flush to the back of the knee. The same thing here. I got to cut that part so it's flushed inwards. So it has to be in this position and whatnot. The only problem is I don't know if I'm going to go like all the way up here for this, where it reaches up to the shoulder joint here, because here's where it bends. And it doesn't look good like that. So I'm still contemplating on the fact that maybe I need to put plow plate here and here and extend it out. I did mention this before, so I have to figure this out and see if I have to do that so I can extend the arm, so that way I have enough spacing for the this part to bend. So yeah, it's going to take me some time to figure this out. But hopefully by phase 3 of my build of the Hulkbuster, it'll be ready. Or you have a sense of where I'm going. So that concludes phase 1 of my Hulk Ball Buster build. In phase 2, as I also discuss about me figuring this all out, we'll talk about LEDs. Until then, see you soon, guys.